Hello, my name is Amari Walker, and I'm here to show you how animals' stomachs digest waste. I suggest you go to our website where they have research 1 through 4, 1 being ninth graders and 4 being 12th graders, and they show you different facts and videos about the animals and what projects are doing. It is very useful, and you should definitely go check it out. Now, back to my slides. How Stomachs Digest Waste by Amari Walker. Now, deer stomachs. Deer are a common animal, doe and deer, female and male. But that doesn't matter talking to their stomachs. Now, stomachs do not affect their horns or anything else. They're just their stomachs, their small intestine, large intestine, and rectal cavity. But deer have a 4-layered stomach, much like cows, sheep, goats, and giraffes. The first one is rumen, and it is for storage. Now, let's say a deer, I'm using a plastic cup for this example, much like the rest of mine, except the last one. The deer eats a plastic cup, and it takes it to storage, which it then will regurgitate it, chew it, regurgitate it, and chew it. Now, for those of you who don't know what the word regurgitate means throw up, but without it coming out of your mouth. Like how a bird feeds its young. It would regurgitate a worm, chewed up, of course, into its mouth. Now, the second chamber is called the reticulum. Say it with me, reticulum. To collect smaller, and it collects smaller particles to digest them into the omasum. Now, the plastic cup obviously has particles, but they are not helpful particles. They're not like good bacteria. They hurt the animal in more ways than one, and they hurt the large intestine, the small intestine when it goes through, and might hurt the rectal activity, not rectal, but it goes into the body of the deer and it weakens it. It makes it have less energy, easier to kill for humans who hunt deer with arrows and guns and other predators of the deer. Now, since the reticulum takes it to the omasum, say with me, I have the omasum. Now, the function of the omasum is to absorb short-chain fatty acids. Now, obviously, a plastic cup is bad for a deer's health because with it being plastic, it can be sharp and poke the deer from the insides, and the deer is very confused of what happened and may try to barf it up and fail miserably and hurting the deer's throat in the barfing. But the fatty acids of plastic, there aren't any, so it just be absorbing plastic, which is very bad for the deer, obviously. Now, with that, from the omasum, we go to the abumasum. The abumasum. Omasum, abumasum. To digest protein to feed both the animal and microbes. Microbes are basically just bacteria, but good bacteria. Now, these good bacteria are getting hurt by the plastic cups from the deer. And deer are beautiful creatures, and we would not hurt them. They do nothing to us. Now, since it is also hurting the deer, it'll make it way slower and hurt a lot more. Now on to goats' stomachs. Goats are just like deer, but they're less selective when eating. Now, it is a myth that they eat everything. That is used for comedic purposes only on a cartoon or whatever streaming you watch. Deer do not eat everything. I cannot make that clear enough. But they do chew on a lot of stuff. And some particles of that stuff may go down the goat's throat, male or female. And kids, infant goat, they're called kids, they also chew on a lot of stuff and are more rambunctious and not as smart as an adult deer, where they would chew on just random old anything like a wire and hurt themselves internally and maybe externally if it is a live wire. Now the throat would get the worst of it because goats do make some sounds. I'm not mimicking the sounds, but it would hurt the throat a lot because it might get caught in the throat and cause the goat to choke and die. Now on to dog stomachs. Now, dogs' stomachs isn't where the main stuff happens besides digestion. It's really in the small and large intestine. Now, the small intestine has 3 subsections. The first small intestine is the duodenum. Duodenum. This is where chemicals help digestion, like to burn down stuff, like our body. It will burn down a plastic cup and hurt it a lot. Now then, we will go to the second part, the jejunum. The jejunum is the longest section of the small intestine where food, after being turned into mush, is absorbed by the body. Now, the plastic cup would be absorbed just a little bit, and it would hurt the dog. It would make it less active, sluggish. It would make it hurt a lot. Now, the ileum is the shortest section of the small intestine and is essentially the connective tissue between the dog's small intestine and large intestine. Now, if the plastic cup makes it through the first subsections and it goes through the third subsections, it'll also hurt the large intestine and maybe the rectal cavity too. Now then, here are the side effects of waste eating. Now, as you can see here, this pelican, let's just assume it was a female pelican, ate a lot of trash. This is obviously not real. This is for photographic and research purposes only. But let's assume it ate this much trash. It internally would be hurting, as pelicans are small, fragile birds with hollow bones. Most birds have hollow bones. So then, the bird would just be hurting. And if the bird had chicks, like small baby seagulls, she would try and regurgitate some of the food. As if they swallowed a bottle cap, they could cut their throat regurgitating it and feed it to their young, who wouldn't be able to eat the bottle cap, sadly. And that would hurt the baby, and it would grow up weird and maybe a little bit deformed. But it would definitely grow up to be weak and easy to kill for other predators who eat seagulls. And it would not be able to provide for its young, making the generation weaker and weaker throughout the family line, till eventually it's weak enough to where it just doesn't do anything, like it's hurting internally. Now, as you can see, this goat is chewing on the paper cup, like I previously mentioned, and some of that won't cut its mouth because paper is soft, but it also has some dirt in it. It might have really bad bacteria that can hurt the animal on the inside. And for sea turtles, this is the worst, because we all know what a jellyfish looks like, and plastic bags in the water kind of look like jellyfish. So when when plastic bags get in the water, that is dire. Because the way sea turtles and most underwater animals eat is whenever they eat, they have to swallow a bunch of water. But a sea turtle has spikes in its throat that don't affect its breathing or anything. Spikes in its throat that catch food so it doesn't throw up the food. But it would also catch the plastic bag, which is dire to its health, because it might just choke on the plastic bag when it tries to swallow it back down. Thank you for your time. My name is Mario Walker. This is my week 4 upload, and I hope to see you in my week 5 upload. See you later.